All right. On the Citrix server, one of the things that I've found is if you can right-click on the Citrix server or on the kiosk, that's game over in 99% of the cases. Again, I can't think of a case where if you allow right-click, how you'll get away with it. So if you can right-click, then right-click on any image. Let's see. Right-click on any image, say save target as, and again you'll have access to the file system. So we've seen this. I'm not going to do the drill again and again. The other thing to do is if you can right-click, say view source on any part of the page, say view source. Here's the source. It's going to get popped up in a notepad. From here, just give a link to your site. If you can save this, just save it on the desktop. And from here, if you can get access to the desktop, if I can kill this particular browser, and if I can access the desktop, then I can open that particular web page and then navigate to Google from there. So I don't need any other shortcuts. I can just right-click, view source, save the file, and then open that file using, again, just through file navigation or accessing the desktop. Then I'll be able to open that file using IE and then go to Google. I'll show that a little later once we are done with the kiosk mode. One of the other things to do is if you are restricted to a local internet site or intranet site, just try hopping around to different places. So for example, if I was restricted to Foundstone site, here I find a link to McAfee. I click on McAfee. From McAfee, if I didn't have, again, just address bar, if it was opening in the same thing, I could search for, say, Google. Not sure why it's hung. All right, stop hacking my system, please. I don't know what's wrong. So it's not taking any input. But essentially, the idea is you hop from one site to the other. From there, you hop to the other site. Just some external link, and eventually you'll be able to get out on a search engine. From the search engine, again, you can download any tools that you want. For some reason, the network has been extremely flaky, so I think it lost its connection. I hope it reconnects. If not, I won't be able to show a lot of the other demos. Anyway, so this was the kiosk mode. Any questions on the kiosk mode so far? Can't see very well, just shout out. No?
No more Citrix, less IE.
Sorry?
No more Citrix, less IE.
Okay, so more Citrix. All right, I'll show the other demos. What was the question?
Do you bring keyboards on these projects?
No, I don't, but it would be a good idea if you have a USB, if you can access a USB port, then you can take a USB keyboard and just plug it in.
When you just call osk.exe, it's going to pop up these virtual keyboards.
What was the process name again?
OSK.
OSK? All right.
Yeah, you click on it and it's going to pull up a virtual keyboard.
Okay, so that's the other way to do it. One of the other things that a lot of people don't realize is Citrix systems have been extremely vulnerable. Just in the last 365 days, there are 9 remotely exploitable vulnerabilities. Now, I'm not going to go down the list because a lot of these vulnerabilities are easy to patch. Just a remotely exploitable buffer overflow doesn't interest me too much because you can patch it up in a few days. But 2 vulnerabilities I'm definitely going to talk about is one is the IMA service buffer overflow vulnerability, and this came out less than 30 days back. A lot of our clients still haven't patched this vulnerability, and I know they are exploitable. They can be exploited. The other very interesting vulnerability is, I want to give a shout out to PDP at GNU Citizen for figuring this out, is the malicious ICA file. Have you guys seen the ICA file? Yeah. So on the ICA file, you can specify the name of the program that you want to launch along with any parameters that you want to launch it with. So if you can launch an executable with your own parameters, and if there is pass-through authentication that has been enabled, it's like a single sign-on. The only thing you need to do after that is convince a victim to double-click on the ICA file. An ICA file is typically just like a text file. It's just a configuration file. And if the victim double-clicks on the ICA file, then the system is automatically going to authenticate on the Citrix environment, launch that particular executable with the parameters that you specify. So again, it's a client-side attack where you can launch an executable, open a remote shell from the server to your particular system. The other thing is the good old brute force of Citrix environments typically are not used using a thick client. Nowadays they're used over a web browser, and unless you are using two-factor authentication or really employing strong password complexity, you just need one account on the remote system. If you have one account on the remote system, this particular bank that we assessed had 4,000 users. You try 4,000 users, you need one account, and from one account you can completely own the DMZ and the internal network. So if you're not using, okay, the internet has died, so I don't know what's happening. So I'll try and reconnect, and hopefully we can do some demos, or else I can just install the client on the server and do it on the local system. So the other thing is the hidden hotkeys. This was the trick that again Palan did on the VPN gateway for this bank, and they were not just silly administrators. They knew security pretty well, at least that's what we thought. And when we assessed the VPN gateway, it took less than 15 minutes to just press Control F1, which maps to Control Alt Delete on the remote system, which is basically Windows Security Desktop. From there you launch the task manager. From task manager, kill any process that you want or start a new task that you want. And on the new task, just say, again, you can pull up the keyboard if you want, you can pull up the command shell if you want. So that's the hotkey. Unless until it's explicitly disabled, the whole attack takes less than 15 seconds. If you don't want to launch Security Desktop, Control F3 does exactly the same thing. So let me see if I can get the internet connection. Oh. I'm sorry guys, I was really hoping to show these demos, but the wireless is down. I don't have it, sorry. Okay.
Thank you.
All right, thanks. Oh, I won't be able to use the crossover cable. The VM is running in a virtual environment on this server, so I'll have to do a lot of juggling. I'm not sure. Anyways, let me go down the presentation, and if I can get it done, then I'll get it done. I don't want to waste